Hi everyone. In this video, I'll show you how to activate LAS for NetScaler Console On-Prem. But before getting into the demo, let's review some details around LAS, or License Activation Service. There's a hard deadline coming on April 15th, 2026, and customers who miss it may be impacted. Now, the upside is that LAS makes life significantly easier. No more manual license file management and automatic entitlement updates upon renewal. And the migration is straightforward. 3 steps. Upgrade your key products to LAS-enabled versions, register those products, and then activate it with LAS. And I'll be walking through that today with you in this demo video. You can find more documentation on the Citrix support site, and I've also provided a NetScaler-specific link for additional guidance. You can find these in the description below. If you haven't started planning your migration yet, now is the time. Now, let's get into the demo. In this video, I'll be covering how to use Cloud Connect for NetScaler Console On-Prem to enable LAS. So here we have the NetScaler Console On-Prem deployment where you first have to log in. Once logged in to NetScaler Console On-Prem, open the NetScaler License Management tab, which can be found on the left side, third button from the bottom. Once on this page, the first thing that needs to be done to activate LAS is to connect the console on-prem instance using Cloud Connect. So go ahead and click that Enable Cloud Connect button, which will lead you to the Cloud Connect page. Once here, you'll need to connect to Console Service. So go ahead and click the Connect to NetScaler Console Service button. And please note, this opens a pop-up. So make sure your pop-up blocker is turned off if you're having issues here. The pop-up will prompt you to log in using your credentials. Once it is logged in, go ahead and select the account that has your LAS entitlements. So here I'll select my account. And now I can see my login was successful. Once completing this, go back to your console on-prem page. Now, I can see my Cloud Connect enablement is in progress, so I'll click that refresh button, taking me back to the dashboard I was just on. Once here, I'll wait for the connection to fully establish. So keep an eye on that top right corner where there's a gray icon by the cloud. Once that becomes green, our configuration is saved and we are connected. If you click on that icon, you can confirm the status is connected, as well as confirm your customer ID and name are correct. Now that that's been completed, click Save and you will leave this page and then come back to that license management page we were on earlier. The NetScaler Console On-Prem deployment I'm using is the 66.x release version, which has a button that allows you to sync licenses from LAS on demand. So go ahead and click that Sync Licenses button. This will create a prompt and you can hit that Proceed button. So here, Console On-Prem will go through a few steps to verify the status and then get the licenses from LAS. This can take a minute as each step completes, so for the sake of time, I've cut about 90 seconds from this video to when the sync is completed. Alright, now that your licenses have been downloaded on Console On-Prem, they will be reflected on your dashboard. You can see the LAS activation status is now active on the left side here. So as of now, the last activation status shows as active. Below, you can see your NetScaler instance entitlements allotted to your org ID. From here, go down to the Pending Action section of the dashboard, where you'll have 2 paths to finish migrating to LAS. By selecting this top option, which says Migrate your existing licensed NetScaler instances to LAS, you can change the licensing mechanism for your pooled capacity licenses and your flexed capacity licenses. This top option will only work for pooled capacity and flexed licensing. So, having selected this top box, I'll go ahead and hit Next. From here, you can select which instances you want to migrate to LAS licensing mechanism. Here, I only have one instance, but you can select multiple instances here if you'd like to do them all at once. Once you've selected your instances, hit that Migrate button. It should only take a few seconds for the migration to be completed. And now, when I scroll down, I can see the section titled Migrate the Licensed Instances to LAS now shows I have one instance in LAS, verifying that the migration was indeed successful. Now, the second step I mentioned to finish your LAS migration is this License NetScaler Instances with LAS section, where you can see I have one instance. If you have any NetScalers which are unlicensed or are not a pooled capacity or flexed license, this option will change the license type to flexed, as well as change the licensing mechanism to LAS. So go ahead and click the License with LAS button. After that, select which instance you want to migrate. In this example, I only have one instance. Once you've selected your instance, click Continue. From there, determine how much throughput capacity you want to allocate to each instance. Once you've completed that, click Submit. Now, it will take a couple minutes for your new instance to appear. And for the sake of time, I've again clipped this video, removing the 2 minutes it took to populate. So, to say it again once more for clarity, that first step that I showed works only for pooled capacity and flex licenses, and only changes the underlying licensing mechanism to LAS. The second one that we just did, license with LAS, takes those other types of licenses or unlicensed NetScalers and switches them to flexed licenses and also changes the licensing mechanism to LAS. So now you can see that the migration is complete and the IP address now appears in this NetScaler instances in LAS table. And finally, if you want more information, click on the Flexed Licensing tab on that far left side here, opening up our Flexed License dashboard. Here, you can see your software instance entitlements, now reflecting my 2 instances in LAS, as well as accounting for the capacity that I've allocated to each instance. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope this helped you along the way.